And we begin in Los Angeles, where the Rams will be coming off bye as 1.5-point home underdogs to the 49ers and their hordes of traveling fans who will once again be taking over what is called SoFi Stadium. There's plenty to talk about the Rams, but Kerrane, I want to begin with the Niners, who will be playing their first full game with Christian McCaffrey after Kyle Shanahan decided his playbook was too complicated for CMC to receive more than 10 touches in Week 7. Do we expect CMC's workloads to remain the same as they were in Carolina? And who might be hurt the most in the Niners skill core as McCaffrey kind of gobbles up some of these high-value touches? There's really kind of a lot at stake here and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, so, I mean, I had a kind of different read on the McCaffrey 10 touches. Like, this guy was literally in Carolina. Now, who knows which state of Carolina, but somewhere in the Carolina area. That's where he was on Thursday. And then on Sunday, he's getting 10 touches. I think that's
this is like his 7th year in the league. He's kind of the consensus best running back. I don't think, to me, this is like the exact opposite. It was just Kyle Shanahan. Like,
this is insane. This is insane. What do you think he was going to do? He was there. He wasn't even ready at the beginning of practice. He's an
NFL running back. Hand him the ball. Like, throw him a check down. Like, this is not that complicated.
Schefter didn't think he was going to play. Schefter was like insinuating, I don't even think he's playing.
That was all performance art. No one in their right mind thought they would trade.
We are all true running backs don't matter degenerates, right? We all have this sort of agreed upon belief that running backs are largely a portion of their system and the positions they're put in. But Pat has reached a new level of degenerate where he's like, bang his face into another player, just jam him in.
Seriously, it's Kyle Shanahan is making it too complicated. There are some universal concepts that I'm sure Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan both understand.
He gave him 10 touches.
Yeah, he usually takes 25.
He led the backfield in touches.
He didn't know the names of the guys in front of him. He had to remember the names of his offensive linemen.
Oh, man, I think it was Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, he walked into the locker room like 15 minutes before the game started, and they were like, "Here's your uniform, I guess. Go ahead." Like this. Oh, by the way, this is Debo.
He was standing on Stanford's campus. Like, he was just hanging out on campus. He didn't even show up to Friday's practice until midway through the practice. Like, oh, yeah, he came out of the locker room halfway through practice. So he got 1.5 practices, the second of which was the Saturday walkthrough. This is degenerate. Your brain is rotten.
Right. I'm sorry to derail the show. Kerrane, will it be a normal workload? Who is CMC hurting in San Francisco? I guess we should mention Deebo Samuel's questionable with an injury for week 8.
I think he's hurting everybody, because the only reason that you trade for Christian McCaffrey, and by like Kevin Cole was saying, by the PFF metrics is equivalent of the 10th overall pick by PFF's WAR metric, and I think by like the Jimmy Johnson chart it was still the equivalent of a first round pick. So it's somewhere between. It's a first round pick they gave up basically for this dude,
and a lot of money committed to him going down the line.
Yeah, maybe you can give him more than 10 touches.
I think they will with a full week of practice. But I do, the only logical thing, and who knows, Kyle Shanahan does some weird stuff sometimes, so maybe logic isn't the best way to think about this, but it only makes sense if they're going to use him as a receiver. Jeff Wilson was running back 8 in rush yards over expected per attempt. McCaffrey's running back 29. So it's not like if you're, again, obviously he's with the Panthers.
Environment,
Environment, he'll be better, but you've got a top 10 running back already. You just need, presumably you're like, well, I want a guy who can also be utilized in the passing game. So I think you're not going to see the same level of kind of accumulation stats that you got in Carolina, because they were just like only throwing to him. They basically just gave up and were like, we're only going to throw to McCaffrey at this massive league leading target share. So he's not going to have that, but he should be in scoring position more often. So I think it's like a slightly different profile, but still one that'll be, a lot of receiving value. He'll still have a very strong target share. And I think that's probably going to hurt the San Francisco receivers, because that is going to take Debo out of this like hybrid-y screen role and make him a true receiver. Now they're going to be cannibalizing each other. They're going to be fighting for volume on a week-to-week basis. And target volume here, or target competition, is pretty strong. Brandon Ayuk leads the team in first read targets per route. George Kittle leads the team in yards per route run on non-screen routes. They're both very capable receivers. I think Deebo Samuel's still the best of them, but I think boom bust all around. I think they all have weekly ceilings, but it just can be a real pain to try and predict it.
So Debo has a hamstring injury for Week 8, so we don't even know if he's going to play. But do we still regard Debo Samuel as a wide receiver 1? Probably, right? Does anyone have a take on this?
I mean, he's only been there once this year, I think, as a wide receiver 1 in 12-team leagues. I would say he's a really good wide receiver 2 option, but I don't know about wide receiver 1.
I agree with that.
I don't know if I've ever seen this much competition for high value touches in an offense where you have 4 guys just genuinely worthy of like being your first read, basically, or like the first guy you scheme up touches for, if you include Brandon Ayuk. I guess some people might not include Brandon Ayuk in that, but yeah, I don't know how even Kyle Shanahan's going to divvy this up, but I think Kerrane was probably absolutely right that by far the most stable is going to be the running back, of course, and almost certainly that's going to include a lot of receptions because, as Kerrane said, the trade almost doesn't even make sense. If it doesn't even make sense if you're going to acquire Christian McCaffrey and not throw to him. But yeah, I'm troubled if I'm a Debo Samuel, or especially, I mean, does this knock Brandon Ayuk like out of the top 36 or no? Is he?
I feel like it has to go all the way down the chain. We can't say that like, oh, this is bad for Debo Samuel and George Kittle, who I think are better than Brandon Ayuk. Not to say Brandon Ayuk has been impressive this year, but I think they're probably better at just generally commanding targets. So to say it wouldn't affect him would seem to be sort of illogical. I think it cascades.
It's bad for everyone.
Yes.
It's bad for. Is there a chance? Let's go full Galaxy brain. Is there a chance that it's good for everyone? And like this makes the offense a lot better.
No, Shanahan's whole thing is that he turns any UDFA practice squad running back into a hero. And anytime he's actually spent up on running backs, they haven't been that good. So like maybe this is the exception to the rule that like McCaffrey is so good and you add Shanahan, but
he's not a big play guy. It's not like you're adding if you were adding like I don't know.
He's been in such bad environments, Pat. And he's been hurt.
Like Kenneth Walker. Like if they traded for Kenneth Walker or something, you'd be like, all right, big play, 2-down guy. Like that could actually help the offense, is adding some big plays, adding some scoring. Or if they added Debo, let's say Debo, like they already had McCaffrey and they traded for Debo, then you're like, yeah, that could actually help the offense. It's now going to be so unstoppable through the air. McCaffrey's just, he soaks up volume. That's his whole thing.
Look, we all love McCaffrey. We were all saying he was clearly the 101 this summer, but he was not the 101 because he makes an offense significantly better. In fact, like tons of running back targets and tons of running back carries are not a particularly good thing for an offense. It's the year of our Lord 2022. You want to be passing the football, and if you're passing it, you don't want to be throwing it 1 to -1 A-dot throws to running backs. Those are like minus EV plays if they're taken at the cost of Kittle attempts or of Debo attempts, even Brandon Ayuk attempts, just as far as like scheming up football stuff goes for the efficiency of an offense. So like, no, I don't think it's good for the offense, for the fantasy aspects of the offense. Probably not even like, I really don't think it moves the needle that much for this offense at all.
The 49ers only run 60 plays a game on average, which ranks 23rd in the league. So like there's just, unless everybody's scoring touchdowns every time they touch the ball, it's just so many guys are not going to get there on a given week, especially if Christian McCaffrey comes in and dominates touches.
I will just say, I mean, if he can make Jeff Wilson number 8 and like what was it, carry
some nerd loser
carry
stuff.
Over expectation. You're talking about Christian McCaffrey like not being a big play guy recently. I mean, I do think honestly a lot of that was I think he could still be a big play guy. I think McCaffrey's probably just going to go totally nuclear. And it kind of
wonder.
Else.
Maybe it could help the offense. I don't think it will, but it could if they just pass a little bit more, right? Like if they're.
I think it'll help the offense. Jeff Wilson sucks, just to be honest. Like whatever the metrics say, he's not good.
He's run well, man.
Good.
He's ripped off some long runs, like
because he's set up for success.
Pat, you're never allowed in a spreadsheet again. My spreadsheets, you'll not be found in them.
Right.
There's a reason why he's like the 4th. Like it's why he's like after every other running back gets hurt. Which
Jeff Wilson won me a dynasty championship 2 years ago, so you shut your mouth.
Wait. I do have to say, Jeff Wilson's not bad. Also, I tend to agree with Daugherty in saying that Christian McCaffrey is going to go ballistic.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.